Cold blue lights floated above the alien courtroom. The air was still. The ground was made of smooth black stone, and it hummed like a low song. In the center stood Jack Rayner, a human soldier. His arms were locked by glowing chains of energy. The chains floated in the air and buzzed with soft light. Jack tried to move, but the chains pulled him back with force. All around him, tall female aliens sat on curved silver seats. Their skin was smooth like glass and shone like moonlight. Their eyes were bright white with rings of gold. They wore long robes that moved like liquid. They were the Zarathi Tribunal, rulers of this world. They watched Jack with cold and quiet eyes. Jack's heart hit his ribs like drums. He was trained for war, not for this. He had fought on strange worlds. He had seen fire and blood. But this silent courtroom filled with glowing women, it made him feel small. A deep chime rang from nowhere. The sound was heavy, like a mountain falling. The aliens rose together, slow and graceful, and then sat again in one motion. The main judge stood. She was taller than the others. Her skin was silver blue. Her eyes burned like twin suns. When she spoke, her voice echoed across the hall as if 100 voices spoke at once. Human soldier Jack Rayner, you stand before the Zarathi Tribunal. You are accused of entering the sacred moon of Vera without permission. You are accused of stealing data from the Crystal Archives, and you are accused of breaking the ancient peace. Her words floated in the air as glowing symbols. The symbols circled around Jack like small stars. Jack opened his mouth. I didn't steal anything. My ship crashed. I was just trying to survive. A sharp sound cut the air like glass breaking. One of the aliens lifted her hand. A beam of blue light wrapped around Jack's mouth and locked it. He could not speak. The main judge spoke again, slow and cold. You have broken our laws. Your words are not needed. Only judgment. The crowd of aliens whispered in their soft, strange tongue. The sound was like wind through glass bells. Jack's eyes raced across their faces. They showed no anger, no mercy, only calm. He wondered if they even understood fear. The judge raised her hands. The blue lights in the room turned red. The humming grew louder. A giant disc rose from the floor under Jack's feet. The disc spun slowly and lifted him into the air. Your punishment, the judge said, will not be death. Jack felt air return to his lungs. His chest rose with relief. But then she continued, it will be something far more binding. The lights dimmed. Only the judge's eyes glowed now, two golden suns in the darkness. You will take part in the ritual of continuance. The courtroom fell silent. Even the humming stopped. Jack frowned. His voice returned. Ritual of what? The judge's lips curved in something like a smile, but it was sharp, not kind. The ritual of mating. The words hit him like a bullet. He thought he heard wrong. He waited for them to laugh, but they did not. They only watched, like hunters watching prey. Jack shook his head. No, this is insane. I'm a soldier. I'm not... A sharp bell sound cut him off. The judge spoke louder now. Refusal means death, not only for you, but for your world. The room grew colder. Jack's blood felt like ice. Your life belongs to the tribunal now. You will serve the continuance. You will give us what your kind calls life force. Jack's thoughts spun like fire. He wanted to run, fight, but he was floating in air, chained by light and surrounded by silent, powerful alien women. The judge lifted her hand. A beam of silver energy wrapped around Jack. He dropped to the floor. His knees hit the stone. Two guards stepped forward. They were taller than him, with glowing armor and long silver spears. They grabbed his arms. Their touch burned like frost. The judge spoke one final time, her voice like thunder under the sea. Tomorrow you will be taken to the moon of Vera. There the ritual begins. Prepare, human, or be broken. The blue lights returned. The humming rose again. Jack looked up as the guards pulled him away. His heart beat wild. He did not understand this place, this law, this sentence. He only knew one thing. He was not going to die here. Not like this. Not as their captive. But as the heavy doors closed behind him and the cold chains dragged him down a black hallway, he was no longer sure if he still had a choice. The hallway was dark and cold. Jack's boots echoed with every step. The two Zarathi guards walked on each side of him. Their armor glowed softly like ice. The chains on his wrists hummed with blue light. They passed giant black walls carved with glowing silver lines. Strange shapes moved inside the walls like trapped stars. Jack kept his eyes forward. He knew if he stared too long, those stars would stare back. At the end of the hallway, a silver door opened without sound. A strong white light hit Jack's eyes. The guards pushed him inside. The room was round and high. The walls were glass. Outside the glass, space floated, black and endless, full of faraway lights. A long silver table stood in the center. Beside it was a tall female alien wearing a thin white robe. Her skin was pale gold. Her hair floated like smoke in water. She looked at Jack with calm eyes. "I am Lysera," she said. Her voice was soft but clear. "I speak for the Tribunal when they do not wish to speak." Jack stayed silent. He stood still, chains glowing around his arms. Lysera stepped closer. She moved like drifting wind. "You wonder why this is your punishment," she said. "Why the Tribunal chose you." "I don't care why," Jack said. His voice was low. "I just want to go home." Lysera tilted her head. "You cannot go home." She lifted her hand. The glass walls changed. They turned into a sky of fire. Jack saw broken cities, falling towers, burning oceans. He saw Earth, torn apart. Lysera's calm voice spoke through the vision. "If you refuse the ritual, the Tribunal will destroy your world. It is the law. One chosen male is taken every century. If he refuses, the world that birthed him is erased." The vision faded. The black stars returned. Jack's mouth went dry. "Why? Why me?" Lysera looked into his eyes. "Because you survived." Jack frowned. "What?" "You crossed our dead zone. You breathed our poisoned air. You fought our drones with nothing but fire and rage. You are the only human who has touched the soil of Vera and lived. The Tribunal believes your body is strong, and your spirit is stronger." Jack's heart hit his ribs. "I'm not some breeding tool." Lysera's eyes stayed calm. "You are not a tool. You are a seed. Our kind has no males. We were many once. Now we are few. Our blood fades. Our bodies grow weaker each century. The ritual keeps us alive." She walked slowly around him, studying him like he was both a weapon and a puzzle. "Each century," she said, "one male is chosen from the stars. He is tested in the Temple of Vera. If he bonds with us, our bloodline continues. If he fails, he dies." Jack laughed once, short and broken. "So this is it? Either mate with aliens or watch my world burn?" "Yes." He shook his head. His mind screamed. He thought of his old life, the army base, the sound of rain on metal roofs, the smell of real coffee. All of it could vanish because of this strange law. Lysera's voice turned softer. "You must understand. It is not only about your body. The ritual tests the heart. If you are weak inside, it will kill you. No human has ever survived it." Jack's eyes snapped up. "Wait, there were others?" "Yes," she said. "They burned. They broke. They became nothing." Silence filled the room like heavy water. Jack could hear only his heart. Lysera touched a control on the table. The glass walls turned into a view of a white moon. Large, bright, beautiful. It shone like frozen fire. "This is the moon of Vera," she said. "It is where the ritual lives. It is where you will go." Jack stared at it. It looked peaceful, too peaceful. He knew that peace was only skin. Underneath was danger. Lysera faced him again. "Tomorrow, you will be taken to the moon. The ritual will begin. The Tribunal will watch. If you survive, you will be bound to us. You will become part Zarathi." Jack whispered, "And if I don't survive? Then you will burn away, and your world will follow." She stepped back. The guards walked forward and unlocked his chains. The light around them faded. His arms were free, but he did not feel free. He felt like an animal let loose in a cage too big to escape. Lysera's eyes glowed softly in the dim light. "Sleep now. Your last night is only human." The guards led him through another door. This time the hallway was quiet. No humming, only silence, like deep space. They placed him inside a small, dark room. The door closed behind him. He stood alone. There was no bed, only a flat silver platform. No window, only black walls that moved like slow smoke. Jack sat down. His hands trembled. His mind played Lysera's words again. "If you refuse, your world dies. If you fail, you die." Jack looked at his hands. They had held rifles, grenades, and blood. Now they were supposed to hold life. He closed his eyes. He wanted to fight, but there was no battlefield. He wanted to run, but there was nowhere to run. Outside the black walls, far in the stars, the moon of Vera shone like a silent eye watching him. And Jack knew tomorrow, that eye would open and try to eat his soul. The ship glided through the black sea of stars like a silent blade. No sound, no engine hum, just cold light slipping over its silver skin. Jack sat inside, strapped to a curved seat. Thin bands of glowing metal held him, his arms and legs. They were not tight, but he knew if he moved too fast, they would become solid as stone. Across from him stood Lysera. She wore a long robe of white silk-like light. Her glowing eyes stared through the ship's glass wall at the bright moon ahead, the moon of Vera. Jack followed her gaze. The moon filled the sky now, white and smooth, like frozen fire. Strange lights danced across its surface, shifting like rivers of stars. It looked peaceful, beautiful, but he knew beauty here was a trap. Lysera spoke without looking at him. "You are afraid." Jack kept his voice flat. "No, you are," she said calmly. "That is good. Fear keeps you alive." The ship slid into the moon's thin clouds. They burned silver as they passed. Soon, a massive temple rose below, carved from black stone, wrapped in glowing vines. It looked alive, like it was breathing. The ship landed with no sound. The metal bands around Jack's arms released with a soft hiss. Lysera stepped closer. "Do not run. The air here would kill you before you reach the gates." Jack stood slowly. Didn't plan to run. They walked out together. The air of Vera was cold and sweet, like breathing snow. The sky was dark purple with slow-moving stars. They crossed a long bridge over a lake of black water. The water did not move, but glowing fish drifted inside it, leaving soft trails of light. At the other side, giant gates opened without touch. Warm golden light poured out. The temple inside was huge and silent. Its walls were made of white stone covered in floating flowers. The flowers had no stems. They hung in the air like tiny suns, spinning slowly. Jack's eyes narrowed. "This doesn't look like a prison." Lysera's voice was quiet. "It is not a prison. It is the garden." They stepped inside. The air smelled like fire and honey. Tall alien women watched from the shadows between the flowers. They wore armor made from silver bones and had glowing markings on their faces. Their eyes followed Jack like blades. None of them spoke. Jack's skin crawled. "They don't blink." "They are the silent guard," Lysera said. "They will watch you until the ritual ends. If you break a rule, they will kill you." Jack gave a dry laugh. "Nice welcome." Lysera led him through a glowing tunnel of glass. Inside the glass walls, strange creatures floated, half fish, half birds glowing like lanterns. Some had no eyes, only swirling lights for faces. Jack stared. "What are they?" "Echo spirits," Lysera said. "They are memories of the ones who failed." Jack's chest grew tight. "The humans before me?" Lysera did not answer. The tunnel opened into a round garden under a clear dome. Stars burned bright above. The floor was soft moss that glowed faint green under his boots. In the center stood a black stone table. It had no legs. It floated above the moss, spinning slowly. Lysera stopped near the table. Her tone became colder now, formal. "This is your resting place. Here, you will stay until the first night of the ritual begins." Jack crossed his arms. "So, what happens tonight?" "Nothing," she said. "You must be still. You must listen to the garden." He frowned. "Listen to plants?" Lysera's gold eyes locked on him. "The garden will speak. If it finds you empty inside, it will kill you before the ritual begins." Jack blinked. "Wait, what?" Lysera turned and began to walk away. "Hold on," he called. "You're just gonna leave me here?" She paused at the edge of the moss and looked back. "Survive the garden. Survive yourself." Then she was gone, silent as wind. The dome door closed. Jack stood alone. The moss under his feet pulsed like a heartbeat. The air was warm but thick, like breathing water. He walked slowly around the garden. The glowing flowers turned to face him as he passed. Their petals opened and faint whispers leaked out. Not words, just sound, like broken voices. Jack stopped. "Okay, this is fine, not creepy at all." He sat in the floating stone table. It was cold, colder than space. Minutes passed. The garden grew brighter. The whispers became louder. Jack pressed his hands to his ears. "Shut up, shut up." But the whispers crawled inside his skull. Images flooded his eyes. His old battlefield, smoke and blood, his friends screaming. His heart raced. The flowers hissed. The moss darkened under his boots like drying blood. Jack fell to his knees. "No, not real, not real." Then he heard it. A single clear voice cutting through the whispers. "Jack." He turned. Lysera stood at the edge of the dome again. No door had opened, yet she was there. Her eyes were brighter now. "You saw it," she said softly. "The garden showed your fear." Jack's chest heaved. "It showed everything." Lysera nodded. "Good. It has accepted you." The whispers faded, the flowers closed, the moss glowed warm again. Jack stood, shaky but alive. "What was that?" "The garden tests your mind," Lysera said. "If you are weak, it will eat your soul." Jack swallowed. "Great. Perfect. Love this place already." Lysera stepped closer. "Tomorrow, the ritual begins. Rest now. You will not be the same after it." She turned away and melted into the dark again. Jack stood alone under the glass dome, stars burning above him like silent judges. And he wondered if he had already lost parts of himself before the real trial had even begun. The garden was silent when night fell. No wind, no sound, only the stars above the dome, glowing like cold eyes. Jack sat on the floating black table, staring at the glass ceiling. His thoughts spun in circles. He could still hear faint echoes of the garden's whispers inside his skull. He tried to rest, but his body would not listen. Every muscle was hard, ready for war. Then, a low drumbeat rolled through the dome. One beat, then another, slow and heavy. Jack stood fast. His eyes scanned the shadows. The dome doors slid open without sound. Cold air swept in. Lysera entered, but she did not wear her white robes now. She wore black armor lined with silver fire. Glowing marks ran across her arms and neck like living runes. Her golden eyes burned brighter than ever. Behind her, 6 female warriors walked in a circle around Jack. They moved like shadows, silent and deadly. Lysera spoke, her voice ringing like glass bells. "The first night begins." The warriors lifted long silver staffs and struck them on the moss floor. Boom, boom, boom. Each strike made the garden lights dim. Lysera looked at Jack. "Come." Jack's heart thudded. "Where?" "To the Bridge of Memories," she said. They marched through a glowing corridor behind the dome. The corridor curved downward like a spiral. Strange energy symbols lit the walls as they passed. Jack walked in the middle of the 6 warriors. He could feel their eyes on his back. He whispered to Lysera, "This is still part of the mating ritual?" She did not look at him. "This is the first test. Before your body can join, your mind must be seen." "Seen by who?" "By all." Jack swallowed hard. The corridor opened into a wide black hall. At its center floated a narrow bridge made of white light. It had no rails, no floor beneath it, only a bottomless pit of stars. The air hummed with quiet power. Lysera stopped at the edge. "The Bridge of Memories will search your mind. Every step will show your past. If you lie to it, you fall." Jack stared at the thin line of light stretching over the void. His stomach twisted. He forced a smirk. No pressure. Lysera's gold eyes locked on him. "If you fear the bridge, you fear yourself. And if you fear yourself, you will die." The 6 warriors formed a circle around the hall. Their staffs glowed white. Lysera gestured to the bridge. "Walk." Jack stepped onto the light. It was warm under his boots, like skin. His first step echoed like thunder. Instantly, the air in front of him rippled. A vision exploded into view. A battle fires, piled on earth. Smoke, screams, blood on sand. Jack saw his younger self crawling through fire, dragging a wounded friend. He felt the old heat burn his hands again. The aliens whispered from the shadows. "Pain. So much pain." Jack clenched his jaw and took another step. More visions, his commander shouting. The blast that killed half his squad. The moment he stood alone among ruins. He staggered, grabbing his head. The bridge wobbled under him like soft glass. "Stop fighting it," Lysera's voice called from far away. "Let it see you." Jack shouted back, "It's not just seeing, it's tearing me apart." Lysera's voice stayed calm. "Then hold yourself together." Jack took another step. The vision changed. Now he stood in his childhood home, a small room, rain on the window, his mother humming an old song. Jack froze. His throat closed. This memory hurt more than the war. He reached toward her, and the image shattered like glass. The bridge shook violently. Cracks of light ran under his boots. The warriors hissed. He resists. He hides. Lysera shouted, "Do not hide from it. Show your heart." Jack gasped, his body trembling. He took another step and another. Then came the worst memory. His best friend on the ground, bleeding out, begging Jack not to leave him. Jack had left. He had no choice, but he still left. The bridge screamed like metal. Jack fell to one knee. Tears ran down his face, hot on his skin. The void below opened wider, pulling at him like a black ocean. Lysera's voice pierced through it all. "Say it. Speak the truth." Jack shouted, voice cracking. I left him there, and I never forgave myself." Silence. Then the bridge glowed bright. The cracks healed. The void closed. The vision faded. Jack stood again. Sweat ran down his neck. His chest heaved. He was still on the bridge. One last step. Light exploded around him, like a star. When it cleared, he stood on solid ground. The bridge behind him faded into dust. The warriors struck their staffs on the floor in perfect unison. Boom, boom, boom. Lysera walked to him. Her glowing eyes were softer now. "You did not fall," she said. "Barely," Jack muttered. "You faced yourself," Lysera said. "Few can." Jack wiped his face. "So, that's it? I passed?" Lysera stepped close. "No. Now you begin." She pointed to a dark stone door ahead. Strange red light leaked from its cracks. "Beyond that door is the Chamber of Union," she said. "The second test. The test of spirit." Jack stared at the door. It pulsed like a living heart. Lysera's voice was quiet now. "Once you enter, you can never return as the same man." The warriors opened the door. Hot red air rolled out like fire. Jack stepped toward it, his shadow stretching long behind him, and for the first time, he felt like he was walking into his own grave. The door of black stone closed behind Jack with a sound like falling mountains. The echo faded into silence. He stood alone in a vast, round chamber. The walls were alive, shifting shapes of red and gold light, moving like fire inside water. The floor was dark glass. It reflected his face, but his eyes in the reflection were glowing red. The air was hot and heavy, as if the room was breathing. Jack's heart hammered. He could not tell if it was fear or something deeper. Then Lysera stepped out of the flames. She was not wearing her armor now. Her body glowed with red patterns that flowed across her skin like living rivers. Her eyes were molten gold. Her voice was soft, but it filled the chamber. "This is the Chamber of Union." Jack's mouth was dry. "And this is where—" "What? The final test?" Lysera walked slowly toward him. Her steps made ripples of red light across the floor. "This is not the final test. It is the heart of all tests." She stopped close to him. "The bridge showed your past. This place will show your soul. If it finds only fear, you will burn. If it finds only desire, you will shatter. You must give more than body. You must give trust." Jack's fists clenched. "And if I don't?" Lysera's golden eyes did not blink. "Then both of us die." Jack's chest tightened. "Wait, both?" "Yes. Our minds will link. If the bond breaks, it destroys us." Lysera raised her hands. The air grew brighter. Symbols of red fire rose from the floor and circled around them like a storm of stars. Jack's skin burned, but not with pain, with heat from inside his blood. Lysera's voice echoed inside his skull now, not his ears. "Do not fight me," Jack gasped. "You're in my head. Do not speak. Think." The room melted away. Suddenly he stood in a field of black sand under a red sky. He looked down and saw himself, but younger, thinner, scared. His old rifle was in his hands. Lysera stood across from him, glowing like a sun. Her voice came from everywhere. "This is your heart. Broken pieces. Show me." The sand cracked. Memories burst up like fire. His squad dying, the smoke, the screams, the blood. His best friend's voice echoing. "Don't leave me," Jack shouted. "Stop it!" Lysera's voice cut through. "I must see your pain." "No, you don't want it." "I do." The black sand rose into waves. Jack fell to his knees, hands over his ears. The sound of war filled the red sky. Then something touched his shoulder. He looked up. Lysera knelt beside him. Her face was soft now. Her eyes were not burning. They were calm. She whispered, "I see it. The pain is real. It is not weakness." Jack's voice broke. "It is all I have left." Lysera shook her head. "No, there is more. Look deeper." She touched his chest with one glowing hand. Light burst from his heart. The warfield melted away. Now they stood in a small, warm room. Rain tapped on the window. A soft song played from nowhere. It was his mother's song. Jack's eyes blurred. He felt small, safe, the smell of coffee, the sound of her laughter. Lysera watched the memory like it was treasure. "This is your strength," she said, "not your rage, your love." Jack's throat closed. "I forgot this." "Remember," she said, "give it to me." He touched her hand. Their minds lit like two stars crashing. The room exploded into pure light. No walls, no floor, only space, endless black full of burning stars. Jack floated in it, but he was not alone. Lysera floated in front of him. A glowing thread of red light stretched from his heart to hers. She spoke, but her lips did not move. One choice now: trust or break. Jack looked into her golden eyes. He saw his fear. He saw her fear too, hidden under calm. She was afraid of dying, afraid of fading, afraid of being the last of her kind, and for the first time, he cared. Jack took a deep breath. "I'm tired of breaking things," he said. He placed his hand on her heart. "I trust you." The red thread between them burst into white light. It wrapped around them both like wings. The stars roared. Jack felt her thoughts inside him, not words but feelings. Her sorrow, her hope, her endless loneliness. She felt him too. His scars, his love, his buried dreams. They were not two minds now, they were one. The stars bent around them. The light grew so bright it burned the darkness away. Then silence, soft and warm. Jack opened his eyes. He was back in the chamber, but the chamber was different. The walls glowed white now. The floor was alive with golden vines. Lysera stood before him, breathing fast. Her golden eyes shimmered like wet glass. "You did it," she whispered. Jack blinked. "We survived?" "Yes," Lysera said. "We are bonded." He felt her heartbeat inside his own chest. It scared him. It also calmed him. Lysera stepped close. Her voice was soft. "You are not only human now, you are part of us." Far away, beyond the temple walls, the Zarathi Tribunal watched from their tower. A column of white fire shot from the chamber roof into the night sky. The judge, his eyes glowed. She whispered, "If the bond holds, he will become one of us." The great stone doors opened with a low rumble. Jack stepped out. The air outside the chamber was cold. It touched his skin like ice, but something warm still burned inside his chest, a second heartbeat that was not fully his own. Lysera walked beside him. She moved slowly now, almost carefully, as if the ground might break under her feet. Her golden eyes were dim but calm. Neither spoke. The corridor stretched ahead like the throat of a giant beast. Zarathi guards lined the walls, tall, silver-skinned warriors with black spears. They watched Jack with hard eyes, but none dared move. Word of the bond had already reached them. At the end of the corridor stood the tribunal hall. Its gates were carved with burning symbols. When Jack looked at them, the symbols shifted and changed, sometimes human words, sometimes alien shapes. He blinked and whispered, "I can read them." Lysera nodded slightly. "The bond is working. Your mind sees as ours see." Jack's stomach turned. Part of him was proud, part of him was afraid. He was not fully human anymore. Inside, the hall was silent and huge. A black river ran through the center, glowing with slow red light. 10 massive thrones rose from the far side, each holding a judge of the Zarathi. Their armor shone like frozen suns. Their eyes were sharp as knives. Jack stood in the center platform with Lysera at his side. The head judge rose. Her name was Serath, the oldest of their kind. Her voice was deep as the ocean. "Human soldier Jack, you have passed the chamber of union. The bond is complete." Her golden gaze pierced him. "But now comes the judgment. Are you still human or something else?" Jack opened his mouth, then stopped, because he did not know the answer. Lysera spoke first. Her voice was firm but soft. "He carries my soul, Read now. He is Zarathi. and still himself. Both, not half. The judges whispered among themselves. The sound was like a storm of wings. One judge snarled, "A hybrid cannot be trusted. His kind betrayed worlds." Another said coldly, "Yet he survived what none of us could." Sarath lifted a hand and silence fell. "We will see his truth," she said. A beam of red light shot from the ceiling and wrapped around Jack. It lifted him from the ground. His body floated, glowing with white threads. Memories spilled out of him, not just shown, but felt by everyone in the hall. They felt his first battlefield. The burning cities, the screams, the smell of ash. They felt his mother's song, soft and small under the rain. They felt his choice in the chamber, not to fight, not to kill, but to trust. The Zarathi judges gasped. They had never felt human love. It was warm, wild, terrifying. The light released him. Jack dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Sarath rose slowly. Her eyes glowed with white fire now. "He carries death and love in equal weight," she said. "He is not like us. He is not like them." She pointed her staff at him. "He is new." The hall trembled. The black river rose into the air like a living serpent. It wrapped around Jack's body and sank into his skin. Cold shot through his veins, then heat, then silence. Symbols flared across his arms, glowing red, then fading to silver. Lysera placed her hand on his shoulder. "You are named," she whispered. "Zerathim." Jack blinked. "Zerathim? It means between stars." Sarath raised her staff. "By the power of the Tribunal, we accept you, Jack of Earth, as Zerathim. You are bound to Lysera. You will protect our blood and carry our future." The other judges bowed their heads. The guards slammed their spears against the floor. The sound echoed like thunder. Jack stood still. Inside him, the second heartbeat was strong now. It beat with his own. Not faster, not slower. Together. He felt Lysera's thoughts brushing his. Calm, proud, tired. He sent back a thought of his own. "We survived." Her lips curved, just a little. "We begin," she answered. The hall doors opened again. Beyond them stretched the city of the Zarathi, towers of black crystal glowing red, bridges of floating stone, rivers of firelight. Far away, war drums rumbled. Ships hung in the blood-colored sky. Sarath's voice followed him like thunder. "Go, Zerathim, the galaxy watches. Show them what you are." Jack stepped out into the alien light. The wind carried the smell of iron and storms. He closed his eyes and breathed it in. He was not only human, he was not only alien, he was something new. And somewhere deep inside that scared him more than war ever had. But it also made him smile. The world returned slowly. Jack's eyes opened to soft white light. He was lying on the cold floor of the chamber. Above him, glowing vines crawled along the ceiling like living silver fire. His body felt heavy. His mind did not. It felt wide. He could hear the soft beat of Lysera's heart inside his chest. Not through sound, through the bond. It pulsed gently, like a small star burning inside him. Jack sat up. His reflection shone in the glass floor. His eyes were not only blue now, a faint golden ring glimmered around the pupils, half human, half something else. Lysera stood near the far wall. Her armor was gone, and red energy lines still flowed over her skin like molten rivers. But her eyes, they were softer than he had ever seen. "You survived," she said quietly. Jack pushed himself to his feet. "We survived." She nodded once. "Then we must face them." The chamber doors opened with a slow thunder. Cold air swept in like a blade. Jack followed Lysera into the long stone corridor. Zarathi guards lined both sides. They stared at him, silent and still, as if made of black glass. Their eyes burned crimson. When Jack passed them, they lowered their heads. It was not respect. It was fear. The tribunal hall rose at the corridor's end, a mountain of carved obsidian, its walls alive with flowing symbols that twisted like fire snakes. As Jack stared, the symbols shifted shape into human letters for an instant. Be changed or be broken, his breath caught. "I can read their language now." Lysera's voice was calm. "Your mind is part of ours. The bond rewrites." Jack said nothing. Inside his chest, two hearts beat together. The hall opened like a mouth of a great beast. Inside, 10 colossal thrones stood in a half-circle above a black river of glowing red light. The tribunal judges waited, ancient, silver-skinned, their faces unreadable, carved from stone and starlight. Lysera walked to the center platform and stopped. Jack stood beside her, the only human in the universe allowed this far. The head judge, Sarath, rose from her throne. Her golden eyes burned like suns behind storms. "Human soldier Jack," she said, her voice deep as collapsing stars. "You live through the chamber. You carry the soul thread of Lysera. Now you must face what you have become." A sudden beam of red fire struck him from above. Jack's body lifted from the floor, weightless, suspended in the air like a broken doll. Images ripped out of his mind, his past spilled open for all to see. The tribunal felt his war, the flames, the screams, the dead friends. They felt his fear, his loneliness, his hatred of killing. Then they felt something else, something stronger. His love, his mother's voice in the rain, the feeling of holding life instead of taking it. The hall went silent. The light faded. Jack fell to one knee, chest heaving. Sarath stepped closer. Her armor hummed softly. "We have touched the shape of your soul," she said. "It is not only human. It is not only Zarathi." She raised her staff. "It is new." The black river rose from the floor. It coiled through the air like a living shadow and wrapped around Jack's body. He gasped. Cold burned through his veins like liquid. Night. Then it turned warm, alive. Silver symbols flared across his arms, glowing faint and fading. Lysera's voice was soft at his ear. "You are named," she whispered. "Zarathim, between stars." Jack blinked. "I belong nowhere." Lysera touched his chest. "No, you belong to both." Sarath's voice rolled through the hall. "We declare him Zarathim, guardian of our blood, bridge of our future." The other judges struck their spears to the floor. A sound like thunder filled the air. Jack stood, trembling. The second heartbeat inside him was steady now, not weaker than his own, stronger. He felt Lysera's thoughts brush against his mind. "We are one," she whispered. He closed his eyes. "Then we fight as one," he answered. The giant doors opened behind them. Beyond lay the Zarathi city, towers of black crystal, veins of red energy running like rivers through the air. Bridges of floating stone curled like serpent spines. Far above, warships floated in the bloody sky like silent predators. Wind from the city rushed in. It smelled like metal and lightning. Sarath's voice followed them like thunder. "Go, Zarathim, the galaxy watches. Be more than both, or destroy us all." Jack stepped into the alien light. His human blood whispered of fear. His Zarathi blood hummed with power. And in the silence between those two hearts, he felt something new beginning. He was no longer only human, no longer only alien. He was the bridge. And bridges change everything. The blood-colored sky cracked with thunder. Jack stood on the highest balcony of the Zarathi spire, the wind tearing at his black cloak. Below him, the alien city glowed, rivers of red light snaking between towers of living crystal. Ships floated like silent sharks in the sky. Lysera stood beside him, her golden eyes dim but sharp. "Humans are coming," she said. Jack's jaw tightened. He didn't ask how she knew. He could feel it too. Somewhere far out beyond the clouds, something cold and familiar moved, like a knife pressing against his mind. The bond inside his chest pulsed, warning him. Lysera pointed toward the dark horizon. Scouts saw their ships, steel vessels, hundreds. Jack closed his eyes. He could picture them. Gray metal, sharp and ugly, built for war. His war. "They think I betrayed them," he said quietly. "You did," Lysera replied, her voice calm. "You stopped being theirs." Jack let the words settle like stones in his chest. She was right, and yet the thought still hurt. Inside the spire, the tribunal waited. The hall was darker now. The judges were silent as statues, their silver armor glowing in the red gloom. When Jack and Lysera entered, all 10 lifted their heads. Sarath, the oldest, rose from her throne. "Human ships approach. They will burn our city." Her eyes burned like twin suns. "You are bound to us now. Will you defend us?" Jack swallowed. "They were my people." "They were," Sarath said. "But if they land here, they will kill Lysera. They will kill all." Jack's two hearts pounded in his chest. He thought of Earth. He thought of his mother's song. He thought of the chamber, of Lysera's hand on his heart, and how her fear became his. "I'll stop them," he said. The judges stirred. One hissed, "You are not ready." Another growled, "He is still half human." Sarath raised a hand. "Half is enough." Her eyes met Jack's. "Zerathim, you will go to them. You will speak first. If they do not listen, break them." Jack's hands curled into fists. "Understood." The Zerathi fleet rose from the fire rivers. Dozens of black ships shaped like curved blades lifted into the sky, glowing red from inside. Jack stood on the largest, a beast of black glass and bone. Lysera stood with him, armored now, red energy crawling across her arms. "You could stay," she said softly. "This is not your war." Jack shook his head. "It became mine when they made me their enemy." Lysera studied him, then nodded. "No mercy," she said. "No mercy," he agreed, but something inside him whispered otherwise. Hours later, the human fleet appeared. They dropped from the dark clouds like iron ghosts, steel warships covered in old scars, carrying the flags of Earth. Jack felt his chest tighten. He had once stood on those decks. He had once saluted those flags. A voice cracked through the static of his mind. "Jack Carter, this is Commander Graves. Surrender." Jack closed his eyes. The name hit like a blade. Graves had been his commanding officer, his mentor. He opened his eyes. "This is not surrender," he said. "This is warning." "You allied with hostiles," Graves said coldly. "You carry alien infection. You will be cleansed." Jack's voice hardened. "No, I carry their trust." On the bridge of the human flagship, Graves gave the order. Fire. White streaks of light cut the red sky. Human missiles screamed toward the Zerathi city. Jack raised both hands. The bond inside him roared like fire. Symbols burned across his arms. Light exploded from his chest in a wide wave. The missiles froze in midair. Their metal skins melted into silver dust, falling harmlessly into the clouds. The human fleet fell silent. Jack's voice echoed across all channels. "I am not your enemy, but I will be if you force me." For a moment, no one spoke. Then Graves' voice came again, cold as stone. "Then you are already lost." The human ships opened fire again. This time, the Zerathi ships answered. Black beams of red energy slashed the sky. Human shields cracked. Explosions lit the clouds. The air turned to fire. Jack watched as chaos bloomed, his old world and his new world tearing each other apart. Lysera's voice cut through the noise. "Choose." Jack's two hearts pounded like war drums. He saw humans dying, he saw Zerathi burning, and he saw the truth. If he fought for one side, the other would be destroyed. If he fought for both, they would destroy him. Jack clenched his fists. "I will not choose." Lysera's eyes flashed. "Then what?" Jack stepped forward into the storm, his body glowing white. "I will end the war." The wind roared around him as he launched into the burning sky, light exploding from his back like wings. The human fleet turned their guns on him. The Zerathi ships paused, watching, one soldier, between two worlds, against them all.